welcome to Gierok Farms. It is April 14th today. It's a beautiful sunny spring day, and we are going to be seeding that new seeding down. So we're going to be putting oats in as a nurse crop, and then getting our new alfalfa slash grass hay stand starting to grow. So we're putting in oats, grass seed, and alfalfa today, and we'll talk a little bit about the exact type of seed that we're putting in here. Dad's grabbing some of our alfalfa bags here, and then the grass.
So we got some fescue, some orchard grass, and some timothy, and you see the percentages there. And I usually like to offer some. We'll put in some other stuff. I did buy some more timothy and brome, just a little bit. We're gonna throw in there. And then we do got that waterway stuff John's gonna do later about that pond. We'll mix the more of it in there then to get a richer mix of grasses. What's gonna happen here is if we get a dry summer again or drier, we're gonna end up with way more alfalfa in that field than grasses. And if it's a wetter summer, we're gonna, the grass will become more dominant. So typically the alfalfa were 15 to 18 pounds an acre. Grasses could be up to 20 pounds an acre. Oats were someplace under 100. I mean, we had this calibrated, but we've done it so many years. It usually is oats is by the size of the kernel.
Yeah, and today we're doing, how many acres? It's like 6 to 8 maybe out there?
Well, there's 6 there, and then I got a couple little patches where the cows are grazing. We're gonna do a little of that too. Yeah. This is a little less than normal. Normally between 6 and 12 acres we do every year. Next year we'll have 10 or 12. I'm not decided. We'll wait and see when we get to that point. But that'll be corn this year, and then next year that'll be a lot more oats. And then I think what we're gonna do, so this year we cleaned our own oats out of the granary, but we usually buy certified maybe every other year. And I try to use it on the better fields, maybe bigger fields, and maybe have a better shot of getting some good oats that you can use for seed again the next year.
Yeah, just to renew that genetics that we're putting out there.
Yeah, and get some better straw and all that with it. But usually don't put too much thought into oats because it's a pretty economical crop, and if it fails or doesn't turn out quite perfect, it makes feed or it makes straw.
It's just a nurse crop. It's just a buffer between now and when that hay stand gets established.
And to prevent erosion, which is critical, and we've always kind of hold our breath when we work a side hill up like that to get a nice new seeding down. Even though this is a no-till drill, there's a lot of manures and corn stalks put in anyway. I know a lot of guys usually don't want to put too much manure in where you put oats. It ends up growing but I would rather get all my goodies in there than wait until it's new seeding and then be tramping around on it. I like to get my soils built up and then try to leave our new seedings alone, just maybe some top dress. You guys got to realize with the hills, the terrain, the access to those fields, in the weather, we have to take advantage of all that when it's more right. It's not always put on by the book.
It should be a big, exciting day. We got to get the drill loaded up here with the rest of the seed, the alfalfa and the grass mix. Oats are plumb full. We got a couple extra bags back here on a pallet in case we run out, but we'll be pretty close to just using up what's in the main hopper box and the drill.
The main box holds 25 bushel. And then the second main box, it is less. It's probably 2/3 of what the main box is. That's where my grasses all go. We should be able to do 7 acres or so with that main box, but with the field so crooked, it can fool you. There's lap and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'd rather have overlap than skips, especially on something like this.
Because there's nothing worse than when you're short a half a bag, then you got to stop and go to the granary or go to town and get some more, or whatever the case. It's just better to have it so you know you have it.
Yeah, and being in the main farmyard here where everybody's driving up, if we were to have a little skip, it wouldn't look very pretty. We'd have to see it every day. So.
We would edit that part out.
Yeah.
See, there is a little, like a beater in there that moves really slow. It keeps the seeds from bridging up, because God knows there's 100 different types of grass seeds you can use, and some of them are quite coarse. And the alfalfa, they don't have that in there because it's more like a sugar where it will flow. And the oats does have one of those in too, one of those little beaters, and they move slow. And then I think Great Plains has got different configurations you can add to these. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a little bit of that, some brome, and a little bit more Timothy. I kind of miss that grass. I like that from baling hay. And then, you know, if we can get just the right mix in there.
Yeah,
Especially when the stands get older, it's
Yeah.
nice. And it makes way better baled hay. The alfalfa is all great. But what I've noticed with last summer's alfalfa, we made it right, we made it young because we had the dry weather, but they'll eat all them leaves up in the tops of the plants, and then everything, you just got stems left.
Yeah.
So you're sweeping those up and you bring them over to the heifers in the young stock and they eat them, but if it was grassy, they would eat it all.
Yeah.
It's usually all.
And like you were saying, with the weather, we're spreading our risk out this way too.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that. We're a small enough operation. We can kind of tweak things. And
Yep, we got the cool season and the dry, hot season plants mixed in. So look at the tag there. This Timothy, over 85% germ.
so this Timothy is like sugar. And my dad used to put it like in with the alfalfa. He'd put the alfalfa, a sack inside a cream can, and then the Timothy with it, and then he'd snap the cover on tight and roll it to mix it. And those old drills they weren't as forgiving here. You couldn't put these longer grass seeds in there. They would plug up the openers. It would bridge up in there some. I mean, not every drill is gonna flow through. This one is a little more forgiving that way. I remember that. That's all the old guys used. They used Timothy all the time. And they look at how small they are. They're just like sugar. The amount of seed in this Timothy is astronomical compared to that brome or the orchard grasses. Now look at the difference. There's probably still more seeds in my left hand than there's in my right. You kind of get the picture though. They're a little bit coarser.
Now Dad's putting in the alfalfa seeds. And this is the expensive stuff right here.
I remember in the 80s it used to be maybe $100 a bag, and now you're talking, I don't know, 400.
Well, I think for sure the Roundup Ready stuff is, yeah, 400 plus. Easy.
You're talking $250 to $400 easy. Brands will make a little bit of difference, but I think some of those large companies, they just have it, somebody else, they buy it from other places and bag it up. And this box will hold 2 bags. I don't know if that'd be 50 pounds. So what's on the bag? I don't think it's a bushel. See, there was some in there, so I can't quite get to in.
Okay, it is about time to start seeding the field. Dad's doing a little cleanup here around one of our wood piles, and it's a good time to making sure we're not plugging up. So I'm running across the ground, making sure we're putting out seed and seeing how deep we are and how well we're closing it up. Especially with these narrow spacings and being we're gonna drag it later. If one row were to plug up, it's not the end of the world, but obviously we want to avoid that. We want it as even and nice looking as possible, being this is a long-term hay stand. It's looking good so far. It's looking like seeds coming out of every row. And once we get into this mellow stuff, then we'll start adjusting our depth.
Is it above ground there? To hear it, it's going to be enough, especially if we drag it. The soil with that turbo till is awful soft. Yeah, so we have to be
You know, this thing will plow it in a foot deep if you allow it. Really, it's your grass and alfalfas, you don't want them too deep. I mean, some guys won't drag it. We're gonna drag it simply because we don't want the water to start following the tracks. Like when I go up the hill and down, because the way this field's shaped, you want that to be, you want your drag to come the other way somewhat, so that if you do have a line the water wants to follow, it won't just take off in that track. You want to walk behind, you can see it going.
Yep, I was already kind of checking
You know, you
what
just
was
go
on the
right
ground, but
across,
yeah.
and then these are the important ones.
Okay, things are underway. The drill is set and working well. The depth is in the mellow spots it's a little too deep, but then in the harder spots it's a little shallow. So it's a nice average right now. We did have a small hydraulic leak coming out of one of the remotes. We think it's just an O-ring, so we just swapped it quick to the other side so we didn't have to stop and mess around. So that'll be something to fix later on a rain day or something like that when we have some free time. But things are working well. We are underway. It is time to just keep plugging away here and get this new seeding planted. So we hope you guys are enjoying the video. Wanted to remind you here that if you haven't already, go check out GierokFarms.com. You can go get yourself one of our Gierok Farm hats. Thank you to any of you who've already purchased one. If nothing else, just go check them out and let me know down in the comments what you think of them. Also, if there's any other things you guys would want, if you want t-shirts, let me know. We've been debating getting those. So thank you all for the support. Let's get to work. Okay, Dad is about half done with that field now, so we are gonna take some time to get the 7810 unhooked from the turbo tiller and go take it down the road by the silage pile where we have the drag, that nice finishing tool, just enough to scratch and smooth out the surface. So we're gonna hop in here, head down there, get that hooked up, ready to go. So then once he's done, we can drag it real quick and put that finishing touch on. Staged and ready to go. So we should have a nice smooth platform once we're all done here. It looks like when he stopped there, other than checking if he was plugging or not, he did grab some more bags of seed. It looked like an alfalfa bag. He must have put the rest in there. So things are going well. Just rode around with him for a lap, checked to make sure nothing was plugging, and I think everything's running real nice. He said when he went to change seed out there, or add seed, that there was a oat row that was plugged, but like we said, we're not too worried about the oats. That's just more or less a nice cover for us. Okay, he is in far enough where I can start making the outer rounds and not interfere with where he's turning around. So let's smooth this field out and make a really, really nice, clean seed bed for these seeds to germinate in and really take off and make a nice stand of new seeding alfalfa. Okay, the field is seeded down and ready for spring. I'm very excited to see this stuff come up, see what type of job we did, and turn it into a really nice stand of hay. Thank you all for sticking to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe, share, like, comment, all that fun stuff, and also check us out at GierokFarms.com. But that is going to be it for the video. We will see you all next time.